Well, folks, it looks like despite having sold off their concerns and connections to Hollywood movie studios, Hasbro, through Wizards of the Coast, has not given up on the idea of bringing more Dungeons and Dragons to the small screen at the very least. And of course, as you can tell from the title of this video, you know we're talking about the Forgotten Realms. But before we jump into that, if you haven't already, folks, if you would, please click the subscribe button. Please click the bell icon for notifications. It really helps out with the algorithm and lets you find out about all these newsy interstitial videos and that sort of thing. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive into this. And this actually comes from Dateline. And we'll take a look at this article, which I, of course, will link in the description below. Dungeons and Dragons live action series The Forgotten Realms in work at Netflix from Sean Levy, Drew Crivello, and Hasbro. Hasbro, of course, being the parent company of Wizards of the Coast, who purchased the Dungeons and Dragons and all TSR IP back in the early 2000s. Let's take a gander here. In one of Netflix's biggest TV bets in the fantasy space to date, the streamer has taken in for development The Forgotten Realms, a live-action Dungeons & Dragons series, sources tell Deadline. The project comes from one of the top producers on the streamer's roster, Sean Levy of Stranger Things and Deadpool and Wolverine, writer-showrunner Drew Crivello of We Crashed and Hasbro Entertainment. As the title suggests, the proposed series will take place in the iconic campaign setting and centerpiece of the Dungeons & Dragons universe, a fantasy world released in 1987 that has become home to some of the brand's most famous characters and launchpad for some of D&D's most popular adventures. The source material for the 2023 movie Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves comes from within the Realms setting. We continue here. Crivello wrote the pilot and serves as a showrunner, so there is a pilot written for this. This is not, we're in talks. They have stuff written. He will executive produce the potential series with Levy and Dan Levine of Levy's 21 Laps, sources said. Reps for Netflix and Hasbro Entertainment declined to comment. Ever since then, Hasbro's subsidiary E1 in 2021 made launching a live-action Dungeons & Dragons series a top priority. Netflix has felt like a logical home for it, given the major boost the streamer has given to the classic fantasy role-playing game through its prominent presence on one of Netflix's biggest shows, Stranger Things. The project's initial incarnation, overseen creatively by Red Notice filmmaker Rawson Marshall Thurber, with Crivello subsequently joining him as showrunner, landed at Paramount Plus in early 2023 with a straight-to-series order and E1 co-producing alongside Paramount Pictures, the studio behind Honor Among Thieves. The project ultimately didn't move forward amid a strategy shift at Paramount Plus and ownership changes at E1, which was acquired by Lionsgate. With Hasbro's in-house division, Hasbro Entertainment, now in charge, the Dungeons & Dragons adaptation underwent redevelopment with Crivello at the helm and a brand new concept not related to the past D&D development with Thurber and Paramount or the Honor Among Thieves movie. So it's not going to be a tie-in. Maybe they'll mention it. Doubtful, but let's go on. The project drew interest from Levy, who joined it in a serendipitous team-up since he is the director/executive producer on Stranger Things. And of course, that wraps up with season 5. So I can definitely see this as a solid move for Levy. With Levy on board, the Forgotten Realms series was taken out to Netflix, where 21 Laps has a deal. After lengthy negotiations, which is not unusual for an IP of that caliber, I hear, that is the author of this article, I hear the fantasy series is now set at the streamer Featuring humans, elves, orcs, and other fantastical creatures engaging in wars, treasure hunts, and campaigns, the D&D game, one of Hasbro's key franchise brands hailing from Wizards of the Coast, is overseen by a host, known as the Dungeon Master, and employs the signature multi-sided dice. More than 50 million fans have played D&D since it was first launched 49 years ago. Well, 50 deadline, come on. In that time, the D&D multimedia library has come to include novels, comic books, video games, and live stream entertainment on Twitch and YouTube. There's already been a TV show. Do your homework, my guy. The Forgotten Realms has been expanded across all of those formats, providing ample storylines and IP on which to base the series. Levy most recently co-wrote, produced, and directed Marvel's blockbuster Deadpool and Wolverine movie. He is currently working on the upcoming 5th and final season of Stranger Things. Crivello created and produced the Apple limited series We Crashed, starring Jared Leto and Anne Hathaway. So there you have it, folks. That's kind of the news from Deadline. Again, if you want to read the article and follow up on the comments, you can check those out. I will put a link. But my thoughts on it are many. I looked over on X, where Ed Greenwood posts pretty regularly. I didn't see any mention from him about this, but of course the IP belongs to Wizards of the Coast and thus to Hasbro. So how much input Ed Greenwood might have, I don't know, but I think they would be remiss not trying to include him at least a little bit. Now, I do find this interesting. This comes on the heels of an attempt to create a Dragonlance series, and that was started by Joe Manganiello, but of course we know that didn't happen. That whole idea was pushed aside. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes and what happens with it. Now, as you might guess from the shirt I'm repping, I am a Greyhawk fan, first and foremost. I know that Forgotten Realms was as popular as Greyhawk in terms of sales all the way up through, the mid-2000s at least. But for a lot of people, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not they honor the legacy, the lore of the Forgotten Realms books, what was presented in the modules, and whether or not the whole show would just be Elminster sitting there telling you how cool the adventure he went on was, because he already did everything for you and you don't have to watch. But that aside, of course, I would like to know what you guys think. Do you think they'll mess it up? Do you think they'll have strong, noble orcs going out and having adventures and exploring and discovering, and purple-skinned, lawful good drow? Or do you think they will adhere more to the way it used to be, the way Dungeons and Dragons was for so many of us? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And, do you think it's going to be a bomb? Do you think it's going to succeed? Will you try it out for at least one episode if and when it comes to fruition? With that said, of course, guys, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. Tell me what you liked about it in the comments, and I'll do more of it. And if you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down and tell me what you didn't like, and I'll do less of it. But until next time, guys, hey, just playing Greyhawk. Peace.